Last night, by the way, live on TalkSport 2, dramatic climax. Blackburn beating Preston 1-0 with a goal in added time. Shortly after the Preston keeper had gone down dramatically in order for Preston to get some tactics out onto the pitch. So a little bit of justice there, and they really need to start doing something about goalkeepers going down for no reason whatsoever. But Preston punished because of their own actions last night. I want to bring in Alex Crook on Norwich City, who have finally lost Josh Sargent, the USA international striker. This has been a long drawn-out affair, but it's a hell of a deal that Norwich have got for this player, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they've done really well. I'm told they've been determined to drive a hard bargain. Obviously, it's been public knowledge that Josh Sargent wanted really to go back to the MLS, to be playing week in, week out, and catch the eye of Mauricio Pochettino, the USA national manager. It's a £17 million deal up front, as you've already mentioned. He flew to Toronto yesterday for his medical. But with add-ons, this deal will be worth more than £20 million, I'm told. That will be a record in the MLS. So, yeah, brilliant piece of business as far as Norwich are concerned. And money, I guess their fans will hope that can be reinvested in the summer to mount a serious promotion push next season.
Well, they've got a player who thinks they can make the top six now, so we'll see what happens. Let's bring in a former Norwich striker, Dean Ashton. You and I this season have been talking about Josh Sargent, haven't we? And he's finally gone to Toronto. I think it's a sad state of affairs. Even sadder that yesterday it was his 26th birthday, and Norwich put out a tweet saying it's Josh Sargent's birthday. Not happy birthday or anything like that, just a real blank, straight-faced, unemotional tweet just saying, oh, it's Josh Sargent's birthday. There is a relationship that's completely broken down between player and club, and it's best off that he's left Dean Ashton.
Yes, and the deal is terrific, I think, for Norwich. In terms of where he's at as a player and the relationship that's clearly there, you would have thought that clubs surely would have felt that there was a real cheap deal to be done. So I think for all parties, I think it's certainly the best thing and the best outcome. You're right, you brought that to my attention yesterday, but doesn't it just show the fragility of player-club relationships in terms of whether you talk about loyalty, that should be questioned in football, but how quickly things change. He was the hero. He was there shining light through what's been a really difficult period over the last 2 or 3 seasons, and all of a sudden he's outcast because of the decision that he's made, which you can't agree with, texting the manager to say you're not going to be involved, and I'm sure there's been plenty that's gone on with what the club, the way the club has treated him, that maybe might not come out, and rarely does. So I just think it shows the fragility of player and club relationships, and maybe, you know, people at times, I know it's very difficult, but maybe not get as attached, I think, sometimes as they do, and I just think it's a real shame for the way that it's ended. Albeit from the club's perspective, it couldn't have gone much better since that happened, in terms of the way they've played, what the manager's done, the player that's replaced him, how well he's done. I know he's got injured, but still, it's worked out very nicely for the club.
Oh, it has, yeah. I was got to say, Director of Football Ben Napper's had some criticism, and understandably, but that's some deal that he's pulled off there. More goals have gone in. QPR 2-1 up at Hull City now, and Plymouth 5, Cardiff City 2. Matthias Ross has got 2-2 now for Plymouth. 5-2 they lead against Cardiff, the League One leaders. That's in the last 10 minutes. Talking of games that are ongoing, West Bromwich Albion are trailing 2-0 at home to Coventry. Let's bring in Perry Groves, who's watching Wrexham Ipswich this afternoon. But Perry, West Brom fans are singing "You're Getting Sacked in the Morning" to Eric Ramsey, who's only just rocked up at the football club. As things stand, with Leicester winning and West Brom losing, Baggies are going into the bottom 3. It's turning into one of their most disastrous seasons ever.
Yeah, very much so. And I feel a bit sorry for Ramsey. He's gone into a situation where I think the culture on the playing side stinks the place out. I think there's players there that attitude need to be sort of looked at. And if you look at now with obviously Leicester, the thing that I'll be worried about is I was at the Southampton game last week in the FA Cup, and Harry Winks has scored today, and I was there at the St Mary's Stadium where his partner from Spurs scored the unbelievable overhead kick. And
Ollie
you're thinking,
Skip, yeah.
Ollie Skip, exactly, yeah. So you're thinking, Leicester have got two midfield players who are actually getting on the edge of the box and starting to score goals. So I actually think that Leicester will get themselves out of it because West Brom are that bad on and off the pitch.
Well, Gary Rowett is an inspired appointment. It may not be a long-term appointment, but in terms of where Leicester City are right now, it's inspired because he got the Oxford job in December last season. At that time, Oxford they're only just above the bottom three. They picked up 17 points from his first 7 games in charge, which is absolutely insane. When you think that through, it's absolutely mad. Now, he was sacked by Oxford on December the 23rd after one win in 10, so it all went a bit wrong in the end. But he did keep them up, Alex Crook.
And do you know what he's got? He's got championship experience. Eric Ramsey hasn't. Now, he might be a brilliant coach, but you don't pluck him from the MLS and put him into a championship relegation battle. They'd have been better off, West Brom, going cap in hand to someone like Tony Mowbray for the rest of the season. And by the way, that might still happen. I'm not convinced that Eric Ramsey's got long left.
Do you know things that we don't?
I think Eric Ramsey is already in big trouble at West Brom because at the moment they're only heading in one direction.
Yet to win in 2026, 3 points from their last 8 league games, and they're losing 2-0 to Coventry on TalkSport 2 as things stand. We'll be there for the closing stages. One interesting thing, Perry Groves, that Gary Rowett said yesterday in the build-up to Stoke-Leicester winning 2-1. It was a great quote. He kind of threw it out like it was just normal speak, Perry. He was asked about the Championship and he said it's a brutal league that spits out reputation season after season, and he's so right on that. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. If you're not at it in the Championship, you're going to get found out. And obviously Leicester, I call them, they're suffering from a bit of Lutonitis, don't they? When Luton obviously went down and Rob Edwards had a bunch of players there that thought they were too good for the Championship. But obviously Stoke City have just equalised against
Ben
Leicester.
Wilmot again, yeah.
Ben Wilmot's just got a brace. But I'm just looking at the Leicester sort of lineup, and if he can get the players on side, you got Begovic in goal, obviously, who's a really experienced goalkeeper. I mentioned about Winks and Skip. Now, whatever you think about them, maybe they're not sort of creative enough, but they've got experience that control games. Daka up front, Musaka obviously in behind him, Mavididi on the left-hand side, so they've got enough quality there. Ricardo Pereira at right back, they've got enough quality there to get themselves out of trouble.
Well, they have 6 minutes of injury time at Stoke as well. Stoke 2, Leicester City 2. Let's talk about the top of the table. Coventry beating Middlesbrough 3-1 Monday night. It was a terrific game of football. Middlesbrough actually contributed to that. Coventry deserved the win though, and it looks like they're going to get the win at West Brom today as well. Their away form has been a problem, Perry. Hadn't won away since the end of November. About to put that right today. Yeah,
I mean, you mentioned about Rodoni. I said I've seen him play a couple of times this season, and he had an injury sort of midway through the season, and they've just sort of eased him back. They had their little blip. They were 10 points clear, weren't they, at one stage? You said that brilliant win, that against Middlesbrough, and that just gives them the belief maybe that was just sort of ebbing away from them. And again, I just think they're getting Frank Lampard at the right time because he's learnt his trade, and in the interviews I was seeing him made, he didn't panic. He was maybe saying about some decisions on against them, that he wasn't happy with some of the play acting from the opponents, whatever. So he sort of just took the pressure away from his own team. And I just think he's obviously learned how to handle this situation. And again, if your manager doesn't panic, you know that you're going to be okay. But going forward, they obviously got Hadji Wright, who's back today. In midfield, they've got Grimes, who just drops deep. He's like conductor. So I don't see any problems from Coventry at all.
Onyeka as well has just come in from Brentford and he played really well Monday night. Stoke 2, Leicester 2, Swansea 1 up on Bristol City, QPR 2 1 up at Hull, West Brom 0, Coventry City 2, live on TalkSport 2. Let's join their commentary for the closing stages with Courtney Sweetman-Kirk and Joe Shannon.
Like that ever since Coventry made it 2-0 through Rodoni in the first half, as we welcome listeners from TalkSport. West Bromwich Albion 0, Coventry 2. Coventry poised to extend their lead at the top of the Championship, and West Brom just a point clear of the relegation zone. And boos at the Hawthorns as the final whistle blows. Another step towards the Premier League for Coventry, while West Bromwich Albion are banging relegation trouble. Still no win since taking charge for Eric Ramsey in his 8 games in all competitions. West Brom have now failed to score in 4 consecutive league matches. The pressure grows on Ramsey, but what a week it's been for Frank Lampard and Coventry City. 2 wins from 2, a first win in 8 away from home in the Championship, and Coventry now 4 points clear of Middlesbrough at the top of the league table. 9 clear of Millwall in 3rd. That feels almost just, if not even more significant. But Coventry were efficient and effective without necessarily being outstanding. They got the job done. And in a promotion race, in a division as tight and as competitive as the Championship, Coventry have set out a blueprint now for the final 12-13 games of the Championship season. They scored both goals in the first half. Efren Mason-Clark lobbing in the opener. Jack Rudoni hammered home the second. It was 2-0 at half-time. West Brom looked bereft. The home fans chanting against the manager, Eric Ramsey, who's booed once more as he walks towards the tunnel. There were chants towards the end of the game of "sacked in the morning" from the West Bromwich Albion support. Ramsey trying to acknowledge the home fans, but they have already very little patience left, these West Bromwich Albion supporters, and his future, you'd have to say, seems extremely uncertain at this point. But the day and the result belongs to Coventry City. 4 points clear at the top. It finishes West Brom 0, Coventry 2.
And that was live on TalkSport 2. Wrexham Ipswich is coming up at 3 o'clock live on TalkSport 2. Still playing in the other Championship games. It's still Stoke 2, Leicester 2. Still playing in the other EFL games where Fleetwood have equalised against Barrow. They were 2 down. It's now Fleetwood 2, Barrow 2 still playing. We'll bring you the full times as and when, but let's bring in Scott Minto and Dean Ashton first of all on Coventry City, who are looking good. They've had a little blip over just after Christmas. That away form has been a problem for them, but comfortable 2-0 win. Probably West Brom was just the right opponent for them today.
Yeah, I mean, they have been truly awful. My friend's just messaged me as a West Brom fan saying, "Rest in peace, West Bromwich Albion." He just he thinks it's over. It's over for them. But Coventry, I can't tell you how much I think they needed that performance against Middlesbrough. I think what it probably has done for them and the rest of the season, I think it's that vital. I think it was that bigger performance from them. You're right as well, bringing in Onyeka, what a great bit of business that is as well, to add that quality into what is already a really strong squad, and players now where he's leaving, you know, as Dave Rowe said before when we were talking about it, you know, he's leaving top level professionals out of the squad, let alone the team at the moment. So they should go on now really and use that confidence to get promoted.
Well, Leicester have just missed a great chance to go in front in the injury time at Stoke. It stays Stoke 2, Leicester City 2. It's actually a great save from the Stoke keeper as Leicester push for a winner. As things stand, Scott Minto, West Brom will not be in the bottom 3. Leicester are staying there because they're being held at Stoke City. We're waiting for full time in that one. West Brom have got huge problems. They can't sack another manager, can they?
Well, if they think the person who's come in is just not good enough, it's almost best to try and do it sooner rather than later. The question is he? I mean, we don't know from the inside. You know, does he look like he's in control? Has he got control of the players? You know, is it down to the players? You know, you look at Spurs. It's the same thing for West Brom. A new manager coming in. It's about the mentality of the players. And I said this to you. Was it Tuesday or was it last week where I mentioned Leicester and West Brom? Their squad's built for promotion in the Championship, not for relegation. And it's all very well having that kind of technical ability. But if you haven't got that mentality of, do you know what, we know this season, guys, is going to be an absolute scrap, and if we survive, then we've had a great season. No. This is a million miles from where both teams wanted to be. And suddenly it's like, we don't know what to do here. We haven't been in this situation before. I do feel for Eric Ramsey. I understand where Crookie's coming from, and I think he's actually spot on in terms of to bring in someone from the outside that doesn't understand the Championship. Premier League is one thing, the Championship is another. It is absolutely brutal. And if you don't know it and don't know the players and don't know the style of football and how brutal it can be, then you could be on a hide into nothing. But look, I hope he doesn't lose it. No one wants to see managers come in and get sacked straight away. But at this moment in time, it's almost between West Brom.
TalkSport Podcast League. Outspoken. The best of White and Jordan. Now available in one unmissable daily podcast.
He's going to be in charge for a considerable period of time. It's a load of old pony.
The final word on the final scores with Jim Mighty White.
I really mean this with sincerity.
And Simon the Saint Jordan.
What on earth have you got? I think I look like the Saint. I think it's a Simon Temple outlook. I expected to hear the
Outspoken, out now.
Listen or download for free from your favourite podcast portal.
Kick it! Talk Sport Superstar Breakfast.
You wake up late for work, man, you don't want to go. Because Brazil and Paula haven't finished their show. Pump up the volume and make lots of noise. You're listening to the Breakfast Beastie Boys. You gotta fight for your rights to power.
The original health communication from the Breakfast Party Animals. Alan Al Rock Brazil and Ray Party Paula on the Talk Sport Superstar Breakfast every Friday morning from 6.
Whoa, yeah.
The Talk Sport app. Yeah, it's the Talk Sport app. Swipe left for Talk Sport 2.
Und get in-depth interviews, the latest team news und all the sporting best bits.
Swipe right for Talk Sport.
Get unmissable kick-by-kick commentary of over 400 games of wunderbar live football across the season. Das ist gut.
Give your phone
The finger.
the Talk Sport app.
Mit 2 Finger so invented.
What are you waiting for? Download it from your app store. Talk Sport Drive. Weekday afternoons from 4 on Talk Sport.
Talk Sport Drive with me, Darren Bent.
And me, Andy Goldstein. Sports radio that's guaranteed to go the distance.
Move up through the gears with all the day's sports.
Daily football debates, plus a bootload of banter.
Watch the lights. Release the clutch. Drive!
Talk Sport Drive with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent. Weekday afternoons from 4 on Talk Sport. The fastest football on the way home.
That's going to come back to haunt me, that one, isn't it?
It's another day of box office football here on TalkSport. So let's have a quick rundown of today's blockbusting lineup. In midfield, it's Anthony Flash Gordon.
Get heroic coverage of every epic clash.
Morgan Buck Rogers.
On the radio station that knows, with great power comes great responsibility.
And Martin Oder, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Well, these are the nights when heroes are made, where history will be written.
Also, Kyle Skywalker.
Magnificent counter-attack.
And Tyrone Mings the Merciless.
Supporters assemble. Captain's goal.
Talk Sport. Biddy.
Listening to Premier League Live with TalkSport.
Still alive in the Premier League title race. And he has a goal on his first start.
Every goal across the entire season.
And if we thought there was any doubt in this result at half-time, that's been put to bed.
The goals, the drama, the excitement, the despair.
And it's a big goal that puts them just 3 points off Premier League safety. It's game over if it wasn't already.
The winners, the losers, the heroes, the villains.
This seemed absolutely inconceivable 10 minutes ago.
It's all here on Premier League Live.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Chelsea against Burnley from Stamford Bridge. I'm your host, Mark Drabble. Alongside me is the former Arsenal, Crystal Palace and Manchester City winger Eddie McGoldrick. This is Premier League Live. An old-school Champions League battle is shaping up in the Premier League and Chelsea are right in the thick of it. Liverpool, 2 points behind. United, a point ahead. And the Blues wedged between them in 5th. Unbeaten in the Premier League under Liam Rosenior, the form has been more promising than the performances. So perhaps today, an opportunity for the new manager to show fans what sort of side he wants his Chelsea to be. There's 3 changes from the last Premier League match day as he names the following 11 for today. Reece James, Wesley Fofana and Pedro Neto come in as Cucurella, Achiampong and Estevao make way. So in goal is Robert Sanchez. The back 4 is James, Chalobah, Fofana and Malo Gusto. Deeper in midfield wait Santos Ramos and Caicedo. On the flanks is hat-trick hero from the FA Cup, Neto, with Palmer on the other side and Enzo Fernandez playing further forward just behind João Pedro up top. That is the side to take on a Burnley team in a battle of their own, yet their outlook is more perilous and their chances of success seem slimmer. Relegation is written on the wall for the Clarets, and with 12 games left and a 9-point gap to safety, if a miracle is to occur, it will need to start sometime soon. Things were looking better in the new year, taking points off United and Liverpool before beating Palace, but then, well, Saturday happened. Scott Parker's side crashed out the FA Cup to League One Mansfield Town, heaping pressure on the players, manager and board again. If today is not the start of a survival story, at the very least, it's a chance to bring some positivity back to a club that desperately need it. They make 9 changes from Mansfield. It's the same team that produced that brilliant comeback against Palace. 2 former Chelsea players in it, Bashir Humphreys and Leslie Ugachukwu. No Armando Broja, though he isn't fit enough to make the squad. So Dubravka's in goal. It could be a back 3, it could be a back 4. If it's 3, Walker and Humphreys will be wide with Worrell, Esteve and Laurent between them. Ugachukwu and Hannibal are in midfield. Edwards and the in-form Anthony play either side of Zion Fleming. Well, Burnley have beaten Chelsea just once in the Premier League in 19 attempts, all the way back in 2017. How they could do with another 3 points today. And watching with me to see if they can cause a shock is former Arsenal, Palace and City winger Eddie McGoldrick. Eddie, how are you?
Good, Matt, how are you?
Yeah, doing very well. Looking forward to this one, actually. And I think we feel like we're in that sort of place for Burnley. 12 games left. It's do or die territory now, isn't it, really?
Yes, very much so. And I think over the next 4 or 5 games, if they don't pick up maximum points, which I cannot see them doing, I think it's going to be doom and gloom for them.
They came up, and for some people they were almost the hipsters' favourite to stay up because their defensive record in the Championship, defence wins championships and all that. It's a classic cliche, but actually that's completely abandoned them. What has gone so wrong for them in the Premier League this season?
Goals conceded, not scored enough at home. I think no clean sheets in the last 23 Premier League games. So that tells you a story there, Matt, and they haven't got anybody up top. I think he's been a little bit more open in terms of and pragmatic, Scotty Parker, in terms of their performances and how they set up and line up in their tactical shape, compared to Vincent Kompany, who wanted to get it down and play and left gaps at the back where they were always exposed. So in that sense they've been better, but they just haven't got enough goals in the team.
You had a long, successful playing career. We're going to touch briefly on the FA Cup and what happened to Burnley. They lost to League One Mansfield while they're in the middle of a Premier League relegation battle. Take us in the mind of that dressing room. How much of a damning impact can that have, a loss like that to a team, 2 leagues below you in the FA Cup?
Well, it's huge, and especially off the back of a brilliant comeback win at Selhurst Park against Crystal Palace, where they were 2-0 down and seemingly done for, but 3 goals in 5 minutes. Speaking to a couple of Palace fans that day, Palace just pretty much capitulated. So very, very disappointed. They'd have expected to bounce on from that good win, and especially on the road at home against a team that League 2, League 1 they expect to beat, and very, very disappointing. But Nigel Clough would have told his players to go there and play with no fear and have that confidence, and the goal that won it was an absolute worldie. So I could imagine the dressing room being very down, but they can concentrate on the Premier League now. They've got no distractions and no excuses.
By contrast, Chelsea winning 4-0 in the FA Cup against Hull City. Liam Rosenior's made a fantastic start. Wasn't the popular choice for a lot of Chelsea fans, almost seen as the board's man. Have you seen enough yet to believe he could take Chelsea not only to a successful top 4 Premier League club, but potentially towards silverware in the next couple of years?
No, not as yet. Not as yet, Matt. I wouldn't say the jury's still out on him, not personally from me. I think the narrative that's being created is that there's a lot of people unsure of his, in terms of the long term getting Chelsea that success. He's won games that we all would have expected the Chelsea team to win, regardless of who is in charge. And he's done that, apart from a couple of losses to Arsenal in the Carabao Cup. Their performances haven't been great, so like you said early on, it's a brilliant opportunity against a team that looks doomed for the drop to go out and put on a really good performance and score lots of goals. But on the flip side of that, Burnley, over the years of playing Chelsea in the Premier League, 8 points they've got off Chelsea, and 7 of them have come at Stamford Bridge.
It's a fantastic point. The voice there of Eddie McGoldrick. I'm Matt Drabble. We are building up to Chelsea versus Burnley. Plenty more analysis of that game on the way, plus a look around the league. You're listening to Premier League Live.
TalkSport Podcast League. Outspoken, the best of White and Jordan.
Now available in one unmissable daily podcast.
He's going to be in charge for a considerable period of time. It's a load of old pony.
The final word on the final scores with Jim Mighty White.
I really mean this with sincerity.
And Simon the Saint Jordan.
What on earth have you got? I think I look like the Saint. I think it's a Simon Temple outlook. I expected to hear the
Outspoken, out now.
Listen or download for free from your favourite podcast portal.
TalkSport Superstar Breakfast.
You wake up late for work, man, you don't want to go. Cause Brazil and Paula haven't finished their show. Pump up the volume and make lots of noise. You're listening to the Breakfast Beastie Boys. You gotta fight for your rights to follow.
The original ill communication from the Breakfast Party Animals. Alan Al Rock Brazil and Ray Party Parlor on the TalkSport Superstar Breakfast every Friday morning from 6.
Whoa, yeah.
The TalkSport app. Yeah, it's the TalkSport app. Swipe left for TalkSport 2.
Und get in-depth interviews, the latest team news und all the sporting best bits.
Swipe right for TalkSport.
Mit unmissable Kick-by-Kick commentary of over 400 games of wunderbar live football across the season. Das ist gut.
Give your phone
The finger.
the TalkSport app.
Die 2 Finger so invented.
What are you waiting for? Download it from your app store. TalkSport Drive. Weekday afternoons from 4 on TalkSport.
TalkSport Drive with me, Darren Bent, and me, Andy Goldstein.
Sports radio that's guaranteed to go the distance.
Move up through the gears with all the day's sports.
Daily football debates, plus a bootload of banter.
Watch the lights, release the clutch, drive!
TalkSport Drive with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent. Weekday afternoons from 4 on TalkSport. The fastest football on the way home.
That's going to come back to haunt me, that one, isn't it? It's another day of box office football here on TalkSport. So let's have a quick rundown of today's blockbusting lineup. In midfield, it's Anthony Flash Gordon.
Get heroic coverage of every epic clash.
Morgan Buck Rogers.
On the radio station that knows, with great power comes great responsibility.
And Martin Odegaardians of the Galaxy.
Well, these are the nights when heroes are made, where history will be written.
Also, Kyle Skywalker.
Magnificent counter-attack.
And Tyrone Mings the Merciless.
Supporters assemble. Captain's goal.
TalkSport. Biddy.
Matt Drabble, Eddie McGoldrick building up to Chelsea versus Burnley here at Stamford Bridge. And after an FA Cup break, all of us have been greatly missing the top flight. But before the rest of the sides get back in action this weekend, the league leaders Arsenal took on Wolves on Wednesday, and it set this match day up beautifully. John Anderson and Kevin Watson watched for us. Here's how it all sounded on Premier League Live.
Here's Martinelli now, just lays it off to Declan Rice. Rice chips into the box, there's Bukayo Saka. Gabriel, lovely ball. Here's Hincapié, this is a chance, and he's taken it beautifully.
Two very different halves. The first one totally dominated the game, and the second one nowhere near the standards that are required to win a Premier League game.
Hugo Bueno, he wants to shoot. Oh, it's a brilliant goal. He's curled it magnificently into the net from the edge of the box, and suddenly, out of nowhere really, Wolverhampton Wanderers are back in the game.
We've got to try and find a way to try and energise the team and the players well when they're out there in difficult moments.
Oh, and there's a mistake there, and Wolves have scored. It was a calamitous mistake, I think, between Gabriel and goalkeeper Raya, and the ball has been thrashed into the net.
We want to try and build some momentum and a connection and a togetherness around the place. I've said it from day one, I understand the frustration and the anger and everything else has been really tough.
Now is not the moment to talk, because we are all too sensitive about it, and you're not going to get anything positive out of that. So the only thing that we have to do is be close to the players, lift them up, because on Sunday we have a big game coming up.
Mikel Arteta speaking on the importance of lifting his players up after yet more dropped points against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Arsenal likely out of sight of Chelsea, but maybe not Villa and Manchester City. It was 2 big points dropped at Wolves. Eddie, on Mikel Arteta's side starting to feel the heat a little bit?
Well, I think they're beginning to feel the heat, Matt, that's for sure. There's a little bit of anxiety in their game, which was clearly evident on Wednesday night at Wolves, but I'm not buying into this narrative that they're bottling it. Not for 1 minute am I thinking that at all. If you'd have said to Mikel Arteta and his players at the start of the season, with 12 games to go, would there be 5 points clear in Man City? They'd have taken that all day long. They are perfectly within this title race for sure. Yes, it wasn't a great performance. Their last, what have they got? 2 wins out of their last 7. So it's not been great form. They have hit a bit of a blip, but this squad is the strongest by far.
If the squad is the strongest by far, and I absolutely agree with you on that point, then surely you have to look elsewhere, either at the management of Mikel Arteta, which a lot of fans are resistant to criticising, or the issue we keep coming back to with Arsenal over the last 3 seasons is the mentality. This constant psychodrama they seem to be caught up in. Does the mentality aspect play a part in it for you, or do you think that's over-exaggerated?
Well, it depends in terms of if it's the manager's mentality or if it's the players' mentality. I don't think they go out to win every single game, that's for sure. What I will say in terms of watching that game the other night, in terms of my own personal opinion, I think he got, in terms of not his tactics wrong, but in terms of the shape of his team, by bringing Saka in to play in the number 10 role, I don't think it worked. I know he scored his goal after 5 minutes, but I think he looked lost in that position, whereas Eze, after a brilliant performance, albeit against Wigan at the weekend in the FA Cup, would have been more suited to get in those pockets and slide little things down the side. Didn't work. And look, listen, one's a worldie to get back in it from Bueno, and the second one, like explained there in commentary with John Anderson, is a calamity between, David Raya and not so much Gabriel. But for me, I look at the second phase of that, and if Calafiori, who's done well to get back on his goal line, doesn't turn his side and lets that hit him straight in the midriff, he's got an opportunity to clear it. So, it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, but massive game to jump, perfect game to jump back into and get 3 points tomorrow in North London derby.
It certainly is. That game tomorrow at 4:30. Toby Gillis and Chris Perry, your commentary team for that one. Not one that you want to miss. Before that, though, a couple of 3 o'clock kickoffs to get our teeth into today, one of which may have some small implications for Burnley. A team they might try and hope to haul back into the relegation fight is Leeds United, but the Whites have been going well of late. They travel to Aston Villa looking for an upset. Watching that one for us is Will Robinson. He's coming up with the team news. But first, a word from the 2 managers, Daniel Farke and Unai Emery.
Of course, they achieved some very important points against difficult teams like Chelsea away, like Liverpool away, Sunderland away, and they beat it as well. Some teams really playing fantastic, like Chelsea at home or Fulham or Nottingham Forest. And I think now they are confident.
On this level, you always have tough games, and we're also used to play against big names and big teams and lots of individual quality. We have to make sure that we show our best possible performance, and then you also need to hope, of course, and need a bit of luck that they don't have their very best day anyhow. And if this comes together, then you always have a chance. We have also won many points against the top teams in this league, and for that we always, wherever we go, we have a chance. And we want to show another good performance, and then we have also a chance to make out of it a tight game. And if it's a tight game, you also can win points.
Unai Emery has made clear this week that the Premier League is Aston Villa's priority, so it's no surprise to see 7 changes from the FA Cup defeat to Newcastle. Emi Martinez returns in goal with Marco Bizzo's red card, meaning James Wright, yet to play a game for the club, is among the substitutes. Cash, Concert, Mings and Maatsen make up the back 4, with Douglas Luiz and Amadou Onana ahead of them. Tammy Abraham's first goal since his return is not enough to keep him in the side, with Ollie Watkins leading the line ahead of Emi Buendia, Leon Bailey and Morgan Rogers. As for Leeds, Daniel Farke is boosted by the return of 2 key players, so it's Darlow in goal, A back five of Justin, Ampadu, Strauch, Rodon and Gudmundsson. Ahead of them Bogle, Gruev, Aronson and the returning Anton Stack. But more crucial still is a start for top scorer Dominic Calvert-Lewin, looking to add to his 10 goals in a prolific campaign.
Thank you very much, Will. Yes, be interested to see if Leeds can keep that fine run of form going. They love playing the big teams in the Premier League this season. And Eddie, in many ways, they're doing exactly what Burnley haven't. Yeah. What is that X factor that's allowed Leeds to start to settle into this Premier League season as it's worn on?
Well, he's changed the system, Daniel Farke. That's a first, and it's more suited to the players that he has. It's square pegs and square holes for sure, going 3 at the back, and that presence and the form of Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been, crucial to them. Absolutely brilliant. 10 goals. He's a real handful, and they've been direct, Matt. They go from back to front very quickly. They'll play in the last third of the opposition that they're playing against all the time. They press high. So it's been a brilliant turnaround for Daniel Farke, especially before Christmas when a lot of people were, backing him to be sacked.
A few times we've seen Villa be up in and amongst it near the end of the season, and normally they've tailed off in large part due to their commitments in Europe. How do they avoid doing that this season? What's the key for them not having that traditional fall off we've seen under Unai Emery's sides?
I mean, it's been a difficult one, really. It's their home form suffered, in the last sort of 6 months, where they've been brilliant over the last couple of seasons under Unai. I don't know whether it's their extra commitment of the travelling and playing in Europe as well. The team sometimes, I think, looks a little bit unbalanced. Bueno's come back in. Morgan Rogers as well is a 10. They don't have that direct pace down the sides now. John McGinn's been out injured, and maybe that could be a big factor because he's crucial for them as well. So it's an interesting one because, like I say, their form over the last 4 or 5 games has been, especially at home, has not been there.
A big team playing in Europe, and one of the perhaps smaller Premier League clubs that are hoping to achieve that feat for the very first time is Brentford, the darlings of the league this season with their brave football. In a lot of ways, they've taken the place of Brighton as unlikely European challengers. The Seagulls down in 14th, and the two meet at the Contatc with Jackson Cole watching for us. He's got the team news. Before that, you'll hear from Fabian Hertzler and Keith Andrews.
Yeah, I think we've got 12 games left and we're going to push hard. Where that brings us, I've been pretty honest, I don't exactly know. I just know that we've got a group that are very, very hungry to achieve and want to strive and want to get better. And we'll just take things day to day, week to week, really. I think that's the only way you can do things. We try and keep players in a good place, constantly looking to develop as a group, and just keep pushing, see where that ends up, and hopefully that's in a really good place.
I really feel this togetherness, and I think the club went through much worse times where we are now at the moment, and they know how to deal with these kind of situations. And of course the results aren't great, but we keep focusing on the process. We keep focusing on the things we can influence. We keep focusing on being a great unit, on being together, and then we all have to believe, and I think that's also what the board showed. Then we all have to believe that we can get out of the situation even stronger, and therefore we try to go for it for tomorrow.
Against the odds, Brentford are dreaming of Europe this season. Brighton in danger of sleepwalking into a relegation nightmare. Bees boss Keith Andrews makes wholesale changes to the team that scraped past non-league Macclesfield in the FA Cup. Among those, club captain Nathan Collins is on the bench. Michael Coyote is not in the squad, and Kevin Schade returns to the squad from suspension. For Brentford, you have Kelleher, Hickey, Ayer, Vandenberg, Henry, Henderson, Janelt, Jensen, Ouattara, Lewis Potter and Thiago. Just one league win in 2026 for Brighton, and Fabian Hertzler makes 5 changes to their team that lost to Liverpool in the FA Cup. James Milner starts to make a record 654th Premier League appearance, while Carlos Baleba drops down to the bench. So for Brighton, it's for Bruggen, Vifa, Dunk, Van Hecke, Kadioglu, Milner, Hinshelwood, Gomez, Gross, Matoma and Welbeck. Brentford versus Brighton at the Contatc Community Stadium.
Thank you very much. Jackson Cole should be a good one in West London. And Eddie, Keith Andrews is constantly playing it down, but this might be as clear a shot to Europe as a club like Brentford are ever going to get. If you look from 7th to 12th and the team's wedged in that margin, surely they've got to be among the favourites.
They've got to be, and what an amazing job he's done, and fair play to him. You've got to take your hat off to Keith Andrews. When he got the job, he was there under Thomas Frank as the set-piece coach. Nobody fancied him. First in the odds to get the sack in the Premier League this year, and what a job, especially after losing the players that they lost in Buemo, Visa and Norgard. Absolutely core of that team from last year, and what an amazing job he's done. Brilliant football as well.
Should be fascinating watch in West London. Our focus, of course, here at Stamford Bridge, though, where Burnley travel to take on Chelsea, needing a miracle to stay up in the Premier League. You've heard from me, you've heard from Eddie. Why don't we hear from the two managers? Coming up is Liam Rosenior. He speaks first, and then it will be Scott Parker.
Since I've been in, the level of, I keep saying this, engagement, the intensity in training, what they're giving me, it's been consistently excellent, and it needs to continue that way for us to be successful. This is such a strong league now. Every team can beat everyone. That's why the league is so close in terms of points between so many teams. What we have to do is we have to focus on our own performance. We have to make sure that we prepare ourselves right. But the way I like to do it is to be consistent in our process, whether we're playing Wolves, whether we're playing Burnley tomorrow, whether we're playing Manchester City, Arsenal. Our process is the same, and it has to be that way for you to be consistent in your performance.
Hugely frustrated and disappointed with a result, certainly coming off the back of such a positive result against Crystal Palace. I think we all understand where we are currently, and I felt like we dampened that noise down. It was something we could certainly build on, but that wasn't the case, and we let ourselves down in terms of the result. We let ourselves down in the final moments of the game, where you need to put the ball in the net on 3 or 4 occasions with clear-cut chances. We didn't do that really, so and it was obviously a negative result.
The thoughts there of Scott Parker, who is feeling the heat, particularly after that defeat to Mansfield. Notable boos around the stadium at the full-time whistle there. The ownership also coming under a bit of criticism, and they're in an interesting spot with the future of Scott Parker, are Burnley. They know almost certainly they will be going down to the Championship, bar a miracle. He's an excellent Championship manager, but you can't write off 13 games, 12 games of a season to go stale and just peter out. So what do? Do you stick or twist? Do you stick with him knowing you're giving yourself a fantastic chance to get back up again? Or do you try and get some fresh ideas in so the fans have a bit to cling on to for the end of the campaign?
Well, I mean, they've been a yo-yo team for the last 12, 15 years, haven't they, in and out of the Premiership. I mean, look at it, even under Vincent Kompany and the type of football they played under him. Like I said earlier on, they continued to play that in the Premiership and they struggled. So they are always going to be one of those clubs that goes down and comes back up unless the owners are going to inject and invest some proper money into that squad to give whoever's in charge the opportunity to stay in that and try and stabilise it for at least 2 to 3 seasons. That's just a groundwork then and a base to work from. Scott Parker's done a brilliant job. He's a good Championship manager, like you said, and it's been very difficult.
Well, every game big for Burnley at the moment. That's what it's like at the bottom of the Premier League. They take on Chelsea, and kickoff comes next on Premier League Live.
To Premier League Showcase, your home for keeping across all the games from the Premier League via the Premier League app or PremierLeague.com. Every time there are concurrent games going on.
You are listening to TalkSport's coverage of Brentford versus Brighton. I'm your commentator, Jackson Cole. This is Premier League Live. What a season it's been so far for home side Brentford. Their playing squad was picked apart last summer, but rather unexpectedly, fans are now dreaming of Europe. some specialised. There is wearing 6'5", specialised, personalised 5'4" today. Personalised boots today. So happy enough to treat himself down. He's been up known as treat himself down. He's known as a no-nonsense player. Referee just having a word with the two captains. Referee just having a word with two managers. Also shaking hands. Incidentally, shaking hands. Incidentally, Fabian Hertz. Keith Andrews and Fabian Hertz from a touchline ban. Keith Andrews has two yellow cards. Keith Andrews has two yellow cards. Indeed, one game, one horrible ban. One game has five yellow cards. Meanwhile, has five yellow cards. And he is signed to a stint. And he is signed to a stint game. In stand for 2 games. Kick-off. Brentford. Kick-off today. Brentford. 7 spots in the Premier League 7 win. And they will go above Liverpool. And they will go above Liverpool. Will be a point behind Chelsea. If Chelsea were to lose behind Chelsea, if Chelsea were to lose to that game, Stamford is about to kick off at the Contatc Stadium. At the Contatc Stadium. Brighton about the away side. Brighton is the away side that kick us off. Referee just doing his final check. Referee just doing his final check. Red and white stripes with black shorts and black and white stripes with Brighton are wearing black shorts, yellow strip. Brighton are wearing yellow strip. And away we go. At the Community Stadium, Contatec versus Brighton Stadium. Brentford played by Brighton. Brentford played by. Ball headed on in the direction of Danny Well. Headed on in the direction of beaten to Danny Well, Christopher Ayer. Beaten to the ball by Christopher Ayer. And Paul Van Hecker then heads the ball forward inside the centre circle. Heads the ball forward inside the centre circle. And the ball is outplayed. Out to the Brighton left towards Matoma. Out to the Brighton left towards Matoma. In the team. Hickey today in the team. Today gets ahead of him. Now a throw-in ahead of him. Now a throw-in deep into Brentford, deep into their own half.
Welcome to our audio
To mention Brighton in some pretty wretched form, having scored
Thiago
in their last 3 matches
good target
in
to
all
aim for.
competitions. 4
A wee bit lost there,
in their last 5
volleyed up into the air
in all
and
competitions.
lost track
All
of his
played out
bearings.
left to Rico Henry, who is marching down that
Plays it through the middle.
flank, but just forced to retreat ever so slightly as he's been trapped by Diego Gomez.
Pick up Matoma, I
Now the
believe.
ball is with Christopher Ayer,
The
just
first
inside.
throw in of the game. James
Brentford
Milner,
half.
Mr.
Passes
Record
over
breaker,
to
654 appearances in the Premier League.
Now
Incredible
Janelt
feat.
goes down the line,
Means
looking.
it is quite the achievement, beating Gareth Barry, another former central midfielder who had plenty of success in the Premier League and Champions League too. I don't think he won the Champions League, but Gareth Barry. Did he with Man City? Probably not. Brentford down this left-hand side. Henry driving forward. Cut off though. He has to go back inside the Brighton half though. Fanny Janelt. Brentford trying to build something up on the left-hand side. So they're missing the usual left-back. Coyote is out today. He's quite the force with his driving runs forward.
Now the ball is back in the
physical.
Brighton half with Van Hecker. Goes back to Verbruggen. Saved a penalty in the reverse fixture. The Dutchman. That game finishing 2-1 to Brighton. He launched the ball long. And it's a good touch by Pascal Gross, but he's well challenged by Hickey on the edge of the Brentford box, and then Hickey is just tripped over, so free kick to the home side. Coming up to 3 minutes on the clock, still 0-0 between Brentford and Brighton. Be taken by Kwame Kelleher, who's something of a penalty saving specialist. Saved 3 penalties this season, and while he was at Liverpool, he saved a penalty from Kylian Mbappe and has also saved a penalty taken by Cristiano Ronaldo when playing for the Republic of Ireland. Ball nodded back to Verbruggen by Lewis Dunk. And here's Van Hecke, just receives a pass on the edge of the Brighton box, allowed to travel, but now Thiago will press him, and Van Hecke tries to play a crossfield ball out to Mitoma, but Hickey read that pass. Wasn't the best executed pass by Van Hecke, and nods the ball back to Kelleher. Brighton in not such good form, but Brentford, their dream season, is shaping up very nicely. Unbeaten in their last 4 in all competitions. Booked their place in the 5th round of the FA Cup on Monday night, scraping past non-league Macclesfield on Monday night. Brentford's reward is a trip to West Ham in the next round. Brighton on the attack, and it's Pascal Gross about 25 yards from goal. Here's Danny Welbeck. Goes back to record breaker James Milner. Passes left to Mitoma, who crossed the ball in at the back post. Met by Rico Henry, who heads the ball out of play for a corner. Didn't look like he initially kept it in, but referee's assistant immediately pointing for a corner kick. So potential opening for Brighton. We're yet to see a chance in this game. 5 minutes on the clock. It's going to be taken by Pascal Gross. Lewis Duncan, Van Hecke have ventured into the box. 2 imposing figures. So corner on the right for Brighton, 0-0. Comes in now. Well, it's a first time shot taken by Dunk, which is straight at Kwame Kelleher. A pretty routine save for him, but that was either side of Kelleher. Then that might have caused 1 or 2 problems, because a low shot from near enough the edge of the box did skid along the surface and through a crowd. So that's certainly the first shot on target. I wouldn't say it's quite a half chance. On Brentford on the attack, through ball played to Thiago, is a bit too firm, not a good clearance, and it's a chipped effort, which is just about caught by Verbruggen. It was Jensen, captain for the day, about 35 yards from goal. Well, if that went in, it would have been a goal of Verbruggen's making. Cut out a through ball, but then played a poor pass only out to Jensen, but his chip was not quite as good as he would have wanted it to be. Verbruggen was able to catch the ball and sweep up the mess he initially created. Ball is at the feet of Verbruggen after Jordan Henderson cleared across. Here's Ferdi Kadioglu on the left-hand side, loose pass which is intercepted, although Henderson is then dispossessed by Welbeck in the centre circle. Here's James Milner playing a defensive midfield role. Now Van Hecke. Hinshelwood goes back to Milner. Now Brighton just looking to get their feet on the ball for now. Just 1 win in the league in 2026. That was a 2-0 win at home to Burnley right at the start of January. That's FIFA has the ball on their right-hand side. His first start since Brighton played Sunderland on December the 20th. He was sidelined with a toe injury. Interesting pass by Lewis Dunk down the right channel towards Diego Gomez. Rico Henry did get to the ball first inside the Brentford box, but only put it out for a throw-in to Brighton under some pressure from Gomez. Fabian Hertzler, there will be some questions over his future. I'm told that Brighton fans are getting a little bit nervous about how the season is playing out. They are still a reasonably safe distance from the relegation zone, but a few more bad results and they could be in the conversation. So coming up to 9 minutes, it's Brentford 0, Brighton 0. Still waiting for the first meaningful chance in this game. Lewis Dunk had a first-time shot on the half volley, which was an easy enough save for Kwimian Kelleher following a corner. Good challenge in the centre circle, and Brentford are on the attack down their left-hand side with Ouattara. Tries to cross the ball in early, but it's charged down by Van Hecker, who then puts the ball out of play for a throw-in. Brentford do carry a threat with a throw-in, but their main weapon, Michael Coyote, not involved today. There was nothing from Keith Andrews in his pre-match press conference about Coyote being unavailable, so he must have picked up a late injury or illness. So it's going to be Jensen who takes on the throw-in duties. Plenty of players inside that Brighton box. Igor Thiago is right up against Verbruggen as the throw-in now comes in. It's flicked on, half cleared away by Brighton, but then Hinshelwood gets onto the loose ball and makes sure the ball is taken away from the Brighton box. Brentford in possession with Kelleher. As I mentioned, the Brentford threat on the throw-in, they've scored 10 goals from throw-in situations over the last 2 seasons. That's more than any other club in the Premier League. Home side have a free kick. Janelt was taken down midway into the Brentford half. And now Kelleher has the ball inside the 6-yard box, just waiting for someone to close him down. He goes long, looking for Igor Thiago. Ball goes over him, but it will run through to Ouattara. He goes down after a challenge from Mats Wiefer. And it's a free kick to Brentford. And a yellow card for Wiefer. I think that is a bit harsh, personally. I was thinking that Ouattara did go down a bit softly, but I suppose there is a little bit of contact as I look at a replay. Yep, there is a trip on Ouattara, so actually that is a good decision by Jared Gillett. And it's a free kick in a threatening position, less than 5 yards outside the edge of the Brighton box. From the left, it's potentially an opportunity to take a shot, but the temptation might be just to whip this into the middle and allow one of the players inside the box to get their head onto the ball instead. Plenty of discussion over what the plan for this set piece is going to be. Jordan Henderson, Vitaly Janelt and Keane Lewis Potter are all stood by the ball. Looks to me it'll be taken by Keane Lewis Potter. Scored in Brentford's last home game, 1-1 draw against Arsenal. So Brentford 0, Brighton 0, 12.5 minutes on the clock. Brentford have a free kick about 5 yards outside the edge of the Brighton box. It's going to be taken by Lewis Potter, and it's straight into the midriff of Bart Verbruggen. Easy save for him. Well, Keane Lewis Potter turns 25 tomorrow, so I'm sure once Brentford got given that free kick, he was thinking, I don't mind having an early birthday present, but it was not forthcoming. Oh, ball given away by Kadioglu to Lewis Potter, who pokes forward to Thiago, goes right to Jensen, crosses first time. Lewis Dunk gets to it first, but can only put it behind for a corner kick on the Brentford right. Loose pass by Kadioglu. Has looked a bit shaky so far in this game. Jensen crossed early. To be honest, I think that was the best possible outcome for Brentford, because only Dango Ouattara was inside the box, or at least in sight for Jensen, so it would have been very unlikely to find its way to Ouattara. Christopher Ayer trying to distract Barbara Bruggen, but James Milner is playing the bodyguard. Corner from the right taken by Jan Eltz, comes in now, it's headed away. It should be completely cleared by Jack Hinshelwood, who tries to play a ball outright to Kadioglu, of all people, who's playing at left back, but ball just drifts away for a throw-in to the home side. Now, ball played long by Kelleher. He's done that quite a few times now. Often see goalkeepers playing balls short and out the back, but we've got a big man in Igor Thiago. 17 goals in the Premier League this season to aim for. There's a bit of a trip on Jack Hinshelwood, but Brighton still retain possession. It's on their right of Gomez, goes down the line to Vifa. He passes back to Milner. As I mentioned, making his 654th Premier League appearance. He goes in front of previous record holder for Premier League appearances, Gareth Barry, by playing today. Milner starting his career at boyhood club Leeds United, making his Premier League debut in November 2002, age 16. Now he's 40 years old. Here's Jack Hinshelwood with a shot from distance, and it's nearly spilt into the back of the net by Kwame Kelleher, but the ball, rather fortunately for Brentford, drops behind for a corner. Well, Hinshelwood scored the winning goal in the reverse fixture from a similar position, and it was a stinging drive, more or less straight at Kelleher, but the ball almost completely slipped through his hands and into the net, but he got just about an off on it to get the ball away from immediate danger. But Brighton do have a corner on the left. Taken short to Matoma, crosses it into the middle, headed away by Sepp van den Berg. His former Liverpool teammate Milner retrieves the loose ball and hoists it into the middle with a spooned cross. Brentford do manage to deal with the danger. And now the ball is back with Verbruggen. And now Matoma has the ball in some space on the left-hand side. He's got support down the line, but he cuts inside and goes to FIFA. Dinks the ball into the middle, cleared away by Aaron Hickey. Straight back to Vifa, who's cut in field now. Matoma inside the D, tries to slip a intricate through pass to Danny Welbeck, but couldn't find him, and Kelleher comes off his line to collect the ball. Pretty aimless clearance by Kelleher. Ball way too far in front of both Igor Thiago and Dango Ouattara. Igor Thiago, I mentioned 17 goals in the Premier League. Only Erling Haaland has more, but just one goal in his last 5 Premier League outings. So sticky form by his high standards. Chests the ball down, goes down to the ground after a slight collision with Lewis Dunk just inside the Brighton half. Lewis Dunk certainly didn't see it that way, and I must say I agree with the Brighton captain. It was minimal contact. Well, there is a slight push, but I think play could have continued, especially as that free kick was passed backwards by Aaron Hickey to Christopher Ayer anyway. So 18 minutes on the clock. Game still goalless between Brentford and Brighton. Both sides have had a shot on goal, but I wouldn't say either side has carved out a chance yet in this game. Ball headed on by Ouattara towards Thiago, but Van Hecke beats him to it, about 10 yards outside the Brighton box. And it's good football from the away side to pass their way towards the halfway line. Good skill from Van Hecke to get away from Jensen, and then he's just yanked to the ground by Thiago in the centre circle. And that free kick pass left to Pascal Gross, rejoining Brighton in the winter transfer window, having left them in 2024 to join German giants Borussia Dortmund, but didn't really go so well for him over there, so he's back at the Amex Stadium. James Milner has strayed left and receives a pass from Verbruggen. Now Karim Matoma back to Milner, thinks a pass forward, that's flicked on, and Matoma's in here. That's a good save by Kwame Kelleher. Matoma will be a bit disappointed though. They didn't get more on that shot from just over 6 yards out. Really big chance that for Brighton. There's a good flick on by Jack Hinshelwood straight to Matoma, who, I don't know, might have been in better mind to put his foot through the ball rather than try and side foot it underneath Kwame Kelleher, but easily the best chance we've had in this game so far. 20 minutes gone, still 0-0 between Brentford and Brighton, but the away side have a corner on the left. Comes in now, and it's almost headed in by Gomez, but Vandenberg got onto the ball first. Milner retrieves the ball on the right-hand side and crosses it in, goes over a cluster of players, but Pascal Gross gets the ball on the left, crosses it, headed away. Here's Matoma about 35 yards from goal, tries to chip the ball forward to Welbeck, but can only find Ayer. Early pass over the top, looking for Ouattara, but Kadioglu does well to deal with an awkward bouncing ball. That was a really good opening for Kaoru Matoma. Just 2 goals in the Premier League this season. Campaign which has been disrupted with a foot injury which kept him out for 2 months. Matoma said in a recent interview that he does need to be better this term. Very humble player, the Japan international. Brighton on the attack on their right this time. It's with Gomez, goes back to Van Hecke. That attack just petering out. But Brighton are still in possession. Kadioglu has the ball as he tucks in field. Now the ball is on the Seagulls left with Matoma up against Aaron Hickey. Hickey getting some help from Lewis Potter. So the ball goes back to Milner. He swings across in, headed away by Henry. It's going to bounce out for a throw-in in an attacking area for the away side. Throw-in now taken. Gomez goes back to Van Hecke. Crosses in looking for Welbeck. Not fully cleared away by Brentford, and a bit of indecision at the back, and Aaron Hickey then has to just go for the safe option of heading the ball behind for a corner. But Brentford just looking a bit nervous in these last few minutes. Brighton are on top. Game still goalless. Just over the midway point in the first half. Duncan Van Hecke, of course, inside the Brentford box. Ball is going to be taken by Pascal Gross. And in it comes. And it misses everyone but Milner on the edge of the box, and the shot is pretty comfortably wide. Got a left-footed effort by the veteran James Milner. He did catch it well enough, but he just lacked the direction needed to trouble Kwimian Kelleher in the Brentford goal. It's a good spell for Brighton. Can they make that translate into a goal for them? Well, Dango Guattara's had the ball taken off him, and opportunity for Brighton. Pascal Gross passes it on to Mitoma, who takes a shot, and it's an easy save for Kelleher. Once again, Mitoma not catching his effort as he would have wanted. And some of the home fans are just trying to G their players up. Ball over the top for Igor Thiago, and what an opportunity. He blazes the ball over the bar. I think he was offside as the pass came in from Jordan Henderson. Well, no, actually, Lewis Dunk was playing him onside, seemingly. So, well, that's actually a massive opportunity for Brentford. I think Thiago just lashed at the effort from about 6 yards out, thinking that he was offside, so wouldn't have counted anyway, but that certainly would have been looked at by VAR, and well, you just never know these days. But a chance each for Brentford and Brighton. This game, after a fairly slow opening 19 minutes, showing some signs of life. Igor Thiago did score in the reverse fixture, but as I mentioned, Verbruggen also saved a penalty he took late in that game, denying Brentford the opportunity to get a point at the Amex Stadium. Brentford have the ball on their right of Hickey's. Caught late though by Mitoma, and the referee just waited to see if there's an advantage. There isn't, so free kick to Brentford. Yeah, a bit of a late one by Mitoma. I think he did try and win the ball though. It's Janelt and Jensen who are stood over the ball. Ouattara has shown for a option down the right flank, and that is obliged. Cross from Jensen straight into the face of Mitoma. A shot by Janelt, which is just over the bar. I think Bart Verbruggen would have had it covered had the shot been on target. But good imagination from Brentford as the free kick was passed down the line to Ouattara, then passed back to Jensen. His cross was blocked by Mitoma, but the ball fell kindly to Janelt on the edge of the box, who first time couldn't quite get his foot over the ball as the ball just whistled at a intermediate pace over the crossbar. But better from Brentford over these last couple of minutes. 27 minutes played. Brentford 0, Brighton 0. Brentford are beginning to activate the press, and Lewis Dunk just puts the ball out of play for a throw-in on the Brentford right, midway into the Brighton half. Hickey goes back to Haya. And now here's Sepp van den Berg. 50th start for Brentford, joining them from Liverpool in the summer of 2024. Now Kelleher has the ball, inviting pressure from Welbeck, and he goes long looking for Ouattara. Ball headed away by Mats Wiefer. Now pass played down the left channel looking for Igor Thiago. Van Heghe gets it first, but Thiago then gets the ball off him after a heavy touch. Here's Jordan Henderson out on the left, right by the byline, tries to cross it in with his weaker left foot, but can only find a Brighton player. Brentford do get the ball back. Sepp van den Berg winning an aerial duel against Welbeck. Home fans liking what they saw from their defender. Well, Brentford have picked up 20 points in their last 10 Premier League matches, and they're playing with some confidence as they pass the ball in the middle third of the pitch. They did lose it though, and now Brighton have a chance to start an attack. It's with Vifa, got support on the right with Gomez, about 15 yards into the Brentford half. Now Milner in the centre circle. Plays the ball left to Mitoma, who's had one very good chance in this game. Goes back to Kadioglu, who tries a shot off the crossbar. What an effort! And on the rebound, it's put in by Diego Gomez. Well, Gomez profiting from an outstanding effort by Ferdi Kadioglu, who fired the ball against the crossbar. The Paraguay international reacting quickest to caress the ball into the back of the net. Half an hour gone. It's Brentford 0, Brighton 1. Well, it seemed like a fairly innocuous attack for Brighton, but Mitoma just went back to Kadioglu, who curled the ball beautifully beyond Kelleher. It came back off the crossbar, and then the ball just bounced straight into the path of Diego Gomez, who did very well to fire the ball in with his weaker left foot through a couple of players and into the bottom left-hand corner of goal. I must say, on the balance of play, I think Brighton are more deserving of their lead, despite a brief spell of good attacking play for Brentford. But perhaps this match will open up a little bit more now that we've seen a goal. Foul by Mitoma on Keane Lewis Potter. Free kick taken quickly. Pass play forward to Igor Thiago. Evaded him, but Lewis Dunk perhaps needlessly putting the ball behind for a corner. So can Brentford hit back instantly? As I said, they were showing some signs of good attacking play, but they are now a goal down against a Brighton side that are badly out of form. The referee just making Janelt wait for clearance to take the corner. He puts it into the middle. Ouattara tried to flick it on to one of his teammates, but it didn't really work out, and Brighton should clear their lines. They don't. Gomez is dispossessed by Ouattara, about 25 yards from goal in a central area. Ouattara still has it, sits the ball through to Christopher Ayer, and he tries to play it across, but he's charged down by Ferdi Kadioglu. It's another corner for Brentford on their right-hand side. Good footwork by Dango Ouattara to evade the challenge of, well, two Brighton players before slipping a pass through to Christopher Ayer. Really wanted the likes of Igor Thiago in that position, because there was a rather tentative pass across goal played by Ayer when he perhaps could have taken a shot. Corner now comes in. Oh, and it's headed by Sepp van den Berg over the bar, pretty comfortably over the bar. However, Bart Verbruggen committed to trying to punch the ball away, and he was nowhere near it. So, again, another good opportunity for Brentford. Perhaps Van den Berg was unsighted as he headed the ball, but it was a near enough free shot at goal for Van den Berg. Well, Van den Berg never scored for Brentford and has never scored in the Premier League. Just having a stoppage in play. Bart Verbruggen, the Brighton goalkeeper, is down on the ground holding his right foot, so is going to receive some treatment. And while that happens, I'll take you through the scores across the Premier League. Only 2 other games going on right now. At Villa Park, Aston Villa 0, Leeds 1. Anton Stack with the goal just a couple of minutes ago. And at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea are 1-0 up at home to Burnley. Joao Pedro after 4 minutes. There was no Saturday lunchtime kickoff UK time this weekend, but 2 more games after the ones that are currently going on. West Ham versus Bournemouth, 5:30 PM UK time kickoff. And a little later, 8 PM UK time, Manchester City looking to apply the pressure on Premier League leaders Arsenal. They entertain Newcastle. And there are 4 other games going on Sunday. Crystal Palace versus Wolves, Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool, Sunderland versus Fulham, Tottenham versus Arsenal, and on Monday, Everton versus Manchester United. Play has resumed, by the way. Bart Verbruggen is fine to carry on. I think he was just a bit sore on landing as he tried to punch the ball away from a corner. Brighton have the ball midway into Brentford's half. Milner passes back to Lewis Dunk, and he ventures into the Brentford half. Here's Kadioglu up against Keane Lewis Potter, goes back to Dunk, and now Milner. Brighton playing with some confidence, especially after taking the lead through Diego Gomez on the half-hour mark. Gomez slotting the ball home first time after 30. Kadioglu's brilliant curling effort came back off the crossbar. It's a long pass played towards Pascal Gross. He goes back to Danny Welbeck. Heavy touch, but he still has the ball. He's inside the Brentford box. Goes back to Hinshelwood. His shot is blocked by Jordan Henderson. Brentford looking very out of sorts at the moment, and Brighton really sense that. They're on the ball again. Welbeck has gone out to the right flank. Less than 10 minutes of the opening 45 to go. Brentford 0, Brighton 1. Loose pass though by Van Hecker, trying to find Pascal Gross, but just goes out of play for a Brentford throw on the halfway line. Aaron Hickey just looking for some options and finds one nearby in Jensen, who returns the ball back to him. And now Kwimian Kelleher, the Brentford keeper, has it. Good pass outright, played towards Lewis Potter. Feints across, but instead goes back to Jordan Henderson. His first time cross is headed away. And then the goal scorer, Diego Gomez, then boots the ball away for a throw. Four Premier League goals this season for Diego Gomez. His first, let's say, 2-1 defeat at Arsenal just after Christmas. Also scored twice in Brighton's win at home to Leeds in November. I was commentating that game. He was very good that afternoon. Brentford on the attack with Keane Lewis Potter. Pass the ball back 5 yards to Aaron Hickey. About 30 yards away from the Brighton goal. And now here's Henderson. Here's Jensen. Finds the ball in some space. Just about gets it to Jensen. Shot from distance from Janelt. Comfortably over the bar. But that was a well-constructed attack from Brentford. Lots of short passes. Eventually, a chance opened up for Janelt about 20 yards from goal, but his effort just lacking the accuracy as the ball sailed over Bart Verbruggen's goal. Diego Gomez now has the ball, but he gives it away to Janelt on the halfway line. He plays an early pass looking for Igor Thiago, but over him, and Dunk then nods the ball down to Kadioglu, who races into the Brentford half. Goes down, but the referee not interested. I think he collided with Matthias Jensen. Barely any contact, so Jared Gillett was right to wave play on. Brighton still in possession with Gross. Just about gets the ball left to Matoma under some pressure. He's tackled, but Milner will collect the loose ball and pass back to Bart Verbruggen as we approach the final 5 minutes of the opening 45. Brentford 0, Brighton 1. Goal scored 10 minutes ago by Diego Gomez. Slotting in on the rebound after Kadioglu's curling strike came back off the crossbar. Here's Gomez now, just in front of the centre circle. Good one-touch football from Brighton. It's now on their left with Matoma. Kadioglu is showing for a through ball, and the ball is gone to him, and he crossed first time, and it is cleared away. Now Jordan Henderson plays a pass over the top for Ouattara, but that's easy enough for Van Hecker as he passes back to Verbruggen. He goes left to Milner. Or loose pass by Pascal Gross, but Janelt, who got onto the ball, couldn't find a teammate as he looked to make his way towards the Brighton goal. Brighton have played good football largely, but there have been one or two loose passes which haven't been punished as of yet. The away side are on the attack with Matoma. Tries to slip a pass through to Gross. He's well tackled by Aaron Hickey, who then wins a free kick after being dragged back by the winger. And Aaron Hickey is calling for the Brentford physios to come on. Well, yeah, as Matoma dragged him back, he then fell to the ground, and I think Hickey's foot was caught underneath Matoma's body. It's his neck that appears to be troubling him, though. Well, Keith Andrews looking very focused in the technical area. I think this season has gone far better than even he could have anticipated. Brentford starting the day in 7th spot. If they win, they'll go into 6th. But they're losing at the moment. That goal by Diego Gomez is what separates the two sides. Igor Thiago had a chance for Brentford on 24 minutes as he showed a rare bit of a lack of composure by blazing the ball over the bar. He might have been flagged, or might have been given offside after a VAR review if he had have converted that chance. It was a very marginal call. Sepp van den Berg, just after the Brighton goal, also headed over the bar with Bart Verbruggen stranded in the 6-yard box. Aaron Hickey still down and receiving some treatment. That wouldn't be ideal for Brentford because no Michael Coyote in the squad today, so there would have to be a bit of shuffling in the pack if Hickey was to come off. So I think we will have just a couple of minutes of stoppage time. Hickey is back on his feet and walking off the field of play. No sign of any activity on the Brentford bench right now, but I'll certainly keep you posted on that. Well, as I say that, Nathan Collins is getting his tracksuit off at a rapid rate. Rather surprisingly on the bench to begin with, the Brentford captain, but needs must, and I wonder who will play at right back. It'll probably be Christopher Ayer. He can play at full back, but prefers to play at centre back. So Brentford forced into a change just before half time. Aaron Hickey going off with what appears to be a neck injury, and Nathan Collins coming on in his place. So Brighton on the ball now with Bart Verbruggen. Just waiting for Igor Thiago to go towards him. Right on cue, he then goes long. Good touch by Gross to Welbeck. Welbeck then returns it to him and is tackled. But Brighton win it back. Good sliding challenge by Milner on Matthias Jensen. And here's Lewis Dunk in the centre circle. Just goes across to Van Hecker. Plays a pass over the top to Hinchwood, who takes the ball well in his stride and plays an early cross over Welbeck. Oh, it's a horrible error at the back. And Danny Welbeck says thank you very much. And Brighton are 2-0 up at the Contatc Community Stadium. Oh, it's an absolute shocker for the man who's just come on, Nathan Collins. It seemed an easy enough cross to deal with, but Collins trying some kind of casual back heel of the ball away from danger when he should have just booted the ball out for a throw-in or a corner. Jack Hinshelwood just putting a searching ball into the middle. Nathan Collins had it covered, made a complete mess of his clearance, and there was Danny Welbeck to finish first time from 6 yards out. And that's his 9th Premier League goal of the season, 6th goal against Brentford. And it's been a pretty miserable time for Brighton of late, but they are firmly in charge now at the Contatc Community Stadium. Well, Welbeck did score in the Amex Stadium fixture this season. Brentford looking to find a route back into the game. It's 5 added minutes at the end of this first half. We played a minute and a half of that. Well, Fabian Hurtzler, you wouldn't think his side were 2 goals to the good. He's having a word with the fourth official, Paul Tierney. Clearly not happy at something, but I'm sure internally he'll be delighted with what he's seen from his players. Kadioglu playing the ball high into the air. Not such good play from him. Well, the Contatc sounding rather quiet. Brentford just haven't really got going. They've had a couple of chances in this first half, but Brighton have certainly forced the issue more in the first half. Brentford also forced into a change in the first half. Aaron Hickey coming off, Nathan Collins coming on in his place, and within seconds of stoppage time, Brentford 0, Brighton 2. And Brighton intentional by the Dutchman, but undoubtedly a sore one. So we have 1 more minute of stoppage time to go. But I'm sure we'll have more stoppage time as a result of that, and Danny Welbeck scoring in stoppage time. A sore one for Gomez, who got things going for the away side. He tucked the ball into the bottom left-hand corner of goal after Ferdi Kadioglu's brilliant curling effort from 25 yards out came back off the crossbar. And then just a few minutes ago, Danny Welbeck making it 2-0 to Brighton as he tucked the ball in after Nathan Collins tried and failed miserably at clearing a pretty soft cross from the right. As for the other scores in the Premier League, at half-time it's Aston Villa 0, Leeds 1. And at Stamford Bridge it is Chelsea 1, Burnley 0. A reminder, there are 2 more games after the ones that are currently going on happening in the Premier League. 5:30 p.m. UK time kickoff, West Ham versus Bournemouth, and 8 p.m. UK time kickoff, Manchester City versus Newcastle. 4 games going on Sunday: Crystal Palace versus Wolves, Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool, Sunderland versus Fulham, and Tottenham versus Arsenal. And there's also a game on Monday, Everton versus Manchester United. Players just about to resume, but referee just giving Brighton the drop ball. Diego Gomez is off the field of play, but looks like he will come back on. We have now played 6 minutes of stop at injury to Gomez and that Danny Welbeck goal. I think both Brentford and Brighton would be more than happy for the referee just to blow his whistle right now. Brighton will be very happy with their work so far, and Brentford will just want to get into the dressing room and regroup as they find themselves in a more than sticky situation. Ball is back with the Brentford keeper, Kelleher. Loose pass by Ouattara. Van Hecke slides in just inside the Brighton half to clear the ball away. Oh, that's a risky dummy by Van Hecke, but it just about came off as he let the ball run over to the right back, Mats Wiefer. And there is the half-time whistle. Well, Brighton went into this game in wretched form, but they are 2 goals to the good at the Contatc Community Stadium. Brentford 0, Brighton 2. Here's the score. Brighton taking the lead on half an hour when Diego Gomez fired in on the rebound after Ferdi Kadioglu's brilliant curling effort came back off the crossbar. And then just before half-time, Danny Welbeck taking advantage of a woeful clearance by Nathan Collins to slot the ball into the net from 6 yards out. And Brighton have been pretty good value for their lead. They forced the issue a lot more in the first half, but Brentford have had 1 or 2 half chances in this game. Igor Thiago firing the ball over the bar. He may have been offside, so that might have been looked at by VAR. Sepp van den Berg also coming close from a corner, but the out-of-form Brighton are in control at the Contatc, and I'm going to hand you back to our feature commentary, which is Chelsea versus Burnley. But in just under 15 minutes time, I'll be back for second half commentary of Brentford versus Brighton. It's Brentford 0, Brighton 2.
Goals like they should be scoring with the talent that's in the team. Now what they proved in that first 5 minutes was when Burnley dropped off, Walker drops off on Neto and gives him the run, and the space was there, and because it was there, he executed the pass. Brilliant ball by Caicedo and a great ball across for Neto, and Pedro finishes it 1-0. But then they've stopped doing it. Why have they stopped doing that? It doesn't make sense. And he'll be as confused as probably the supporters are at the moment. Liam Rosenior. Now, this is where he'll earn his money. Is he big enough? Is he big enough now to go in and change that? Can he make a change? Can he tell those players, listen, can he make substitutions? Listen, I'm going to bring a player on or players on that will do what I want. Now, is he a big enough personality? I'm not quite sure at this moment in time.
And I suppose on the Burnley side, the real concern for them is we're seeing their issues this season clear as day. They're competitive, they've hung around in the game, but they don't really look like scoring. They have to change that now. If they want any chance at even making it a fight come the end of the season, they have to prove they can score goals in the Premier League.
Oh, they do. And listen, they've proved that. You know, they were 2-0 down at Selhurst Park a couple of weeks ago, and they didn't go 3, got a goal back, scored 3 in 5 minutes, although Palace were in disarray and still are. But they proved that they've got that in the locker. They just need to go out now and be a little bit more confident, have a little bit more quality in the final third, because when they have had that in the last 10 minutes of that first half, Matt, they've showed that there can be a problem.
A problem they will need to be to have any hope of staying up. One of the teams they might have to leapfrog, West Ham United, just ahead of Burnley in 18th on 24 points. A big game for the Hammers follows us here at Stamford Bridge. John Howick and Hogan Ephraim, your commentary team for West Ham versus Bournemouth. And why don't we hear now from Nuno Espirito Santo. It's a survival battle. Here's what the Portuguese man had to say.
No, I see him as another game that we have to focus on ourselves, do our jobs, ignore what's happening with other teams. Massive game for us, important games at home. Expect again a good atmosphere at the London Stadium, the fans helping us helping the fans so we can overcome together. Realize that he's a tough opponent, team that is in good dynamic, playing good results. Good players, good manager. We know it's going to be tough, but it's up to us. It's up to us to try and make a good performance.
Remarkable the situation that West Ham United find themselves in then, but a chance to pick up a result at a Bournemouth side that have been very much up and down this year. So as it reads at the bottom, Wolverhampton Wanderers in 20th on 10 points, Burnley 19th, 18 points, West Ham 18th on 24 points. Nottingham Forest, the first team out, on 27th in 17th. Some of the teams that could get drawn into it, Brighton, Leeds, Tottenham, maybe even Crystal Palace in that mix as well. Burnley, though, themselves needing to prove that they can score goals in this second half, trailing Chelsea by a 1-0. Just 28 scored this season. Only Sunderland and Wolves are worse than that. Before we cut across to the second half, we can hear from Andoni Iraola, the opposing manager to Nuno in that game upcoming.
I really don't know where I'm going to watch the game. I suppose they are going to put me somewhere there quite far, but I don't think it's going to make a massive difference. We will have Tommy, Sean, Pablo there shouting even more than me, and right now we will be for sure connected with the analysts, and I think we will be fine. And the other 2 games that I was out, the previous 2 seasons, we won them probably. It is a show that probably not as, they don't need me as much.
Andoni Iraola, of course, in the stands as he was referencing there for that game. Our focus, though, fully remains here at Stamford Bridge, where Burnley are looking to pile pressure on the Hammers ahead of them. They held firm in the first half, but they need a goal in the second. Will Chelsea be able to extend their lead, or can Burnley get back in it? The crucial 45 comes next on Premier League Live.
Previously on White and Jordan.
I don't think there should be a transfer. Now, I know you do with your ghastly little yellow tie twice a year.
Adrenaline-fueled, fiery exchange.
All right, it's funny how I was mentioned virtually in the same sentence as the slugs of the world.
Danger overhead live wires.
Kevin De Bruyne is brilliant. He was able to negotiate £385,000 a week on his own. Oh, well done, Pythagoras.
Highly charged, highly opinionated, highly recommended. White and Jordan, weekday mornings from 10 on the world-famous Talk Sport.
Mr. Bonlahor, you have 60 seconds to answer your questions. The
famous Silk Road corridor connecting Landi Kotal to the Valley of Peshawar is known as the Khyber what?
Oh, I don't know. I ain't got a clue. Pass.
Correct.
What?
To undergo an inspection, test or course of study successfully is to what?
I don't know. Pass.
Correct.
What?
On the #1 hit single, pop group Musical Youth did what on the left-hand side to the Duchy?
Don't know this either. Don't know. Pass again. Pass.
Correct.
Huh?
Alan Brazil and Gabby Agbonlahor on the TalkSport Superstar Breakfast.
Breakfast radio that passes first time.
Thursday mornings from 6 on TalkSport.
The TalkSport app. Ja, the TalkSport app. Swipe left for TalkSport 2.
Und be first past the post mit Supersonic Live Horse Racing.
Swipe right for TalkSport.
Meet unmissable live commentary of the biggest Europa and Champions League showdowns.
Alles klar?
Give your phone the finger. The TalkSport app. What are you waiting for? Download it from your app store.
TalkSport Drive. Weekday afternoons from 4 on TalkSport.
With me, Darren Bent, and Andy Goldstein.
Unrivaled, opinionated comment from the biggest names in sport.
Insane acceleration, outstanding pace, next generation slipstream sport.
High performance afternoon radio with more goal talk to the gallon. Belt up and listen.
TalkSport Drive with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent.
Weekday afternoons from 4 on TalkSport. The fastest football on the way home. Trans Euro Express. Sunday night from 9 on TalkSport.
The nation's premier all-action weekly international football program from Paris to Barcelona. Unmissable European football talk. Trans Euro Express.
The world's favourite European football program. Sunday night from 9 on TalkSport.
All the breaking big sports news, live football scores and interviews. There's transfer fees and injuries, even full match commentaries.
The TalkSport app. Hear, watch and scroll unbeatable content from the world's biggest sports radio station. Whenever you want, wherever you want. Available from the App Store now. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to TalkSport's coverage of Chelsea against Burnley from Stamford Bridge. I'm your host, Matt Drabble. Alongside me, the former Arsenal, Crystal Palace and City winger Eddie McGoldrick. This is Premier League Live. The two sides out the dugout then and into the pitch here at Stamford Bridge after the break. Chelsea first to emerge through João Pedro, Burnley following them out. And Burnley, in a strange way, maybe the happier of the two sides coming out of the tunnel at half-time, despite the fact that